As we finish up our at-home worship this morning, I want to take some time to share with you kind of an update on our plans moving forward. Today, we wrap up 11 weeks of at-home worship. You know, when we rolled into this month or into the month of March, we had no idea that this is how things would be in our life and how our lives would be changed. For some of you, you're now working from home. For some of you, you haven't been to a store in months. And for all of us, there are new things that we have to take into consideration and adjustments that we've had to pull into our life. You know, at this point, no one really knows how long these things and these adjustments will last. But I have a feeling that even once things with the coronavirus are over, things are going to still be a little different. But we as a church, we have a responsibility first and foremost to the commission of Jesus to go and make disciples. But we also have a burden of finding a way of doing that is both effective and responsible to minister to our community. And so because of that, we are staying committed to God and His calling for us as a church. And some things are going to have to change. And some of these changes will be long-term, and some of them will be temporary. And some of these changes will be easy and probably enjoyable for a lot of people, but others will be a little bit more annoying and frustrating. But in the end, the point of all this is that we want to stay committed to honoring God, making disciples, and loving generously. And sometimes you have to adapt your methods while staying staunchly committed to God's mission. So I want to share with you some of those changes that you can expect. And I'd like to kind of start with things in sort of the long-term changes and the adaptations that we're going to have to things, and then kind of move back to sort of more of the short-term ones after that. And please know that these aren't knee-jerk reactions or wild ideas or things that just kind of popped into our heads. These are decisions that have been made through prayer, things that have been researched and discussed, and we will continue to do all of that as we move forward, recognizing that this is all uncharted territory for all of us. So when it comes to sort of long-term plans, the first thing is that we are going to have a renewed commitment to personal discipleship. A question that I think has slapped every church and every Christian in the face over these past several weeks is that, can your faith survive and grow if you don't have the church? Now, there are some things that as Christians we've been called to do that we can't do without other people. But is your relationship with Jesus completely dependent on the church and a program and even a church leader? Well, we are committing to helping you grow as a disciple of Jesus in personal ways beyond just the Sunday mornings. And we're going to be providing resources in ways that you can take your learning and your growing beyond what we do here at the church. The second thing that we're committed to is an online and digital presence. Up until this year, the leadership has been praying about how we could expand the ministry of Smithfield Christian Church. And a lot of times when we think about expanding, we think of expanding the building or expanding the staff. But we believe that God is opening a door for us online and digitally to have a presence and for that to be our new ministry expansion. Do you realize that this year the leadership renamed the budget line item that was our construction loan payment? It was renamed to ministry expansion because we knew that our church's construction loan from way back in 2011 was going to be paid off this year. And so we were kind of praying that God would help us see what our new ministry expansion would be. And not only that, but literally days before we started at home worship, God made it possible through your generosity to pay off our loan, which has freed up financial resources to be used for this ministry expansion. The digital world is here, and its presence and its influence, they're only growing. And it's time that we leverage this tool for God's purpose through our church. So things like live streaming and online study tools and groups and other digital and online resources will be becoming more and more a part of our church's strategy. Now, moving to some more of the short-term plans and things that we're going to be changing and kind of adapting. You know, and all these things they're all fluid and contingent on things like state regulations and things of how they work out for our church. And no matter our political leanings, we have a biblically mandated responsibility to respect our government, to respect their authority, and we are going to do that. So, on June 14th, That will be our first Sunday back to what we're going to call gathered worship times. These worship times will be for the time being a little bit different than they used to be, but we're going to be okay with that because it means that we can get together and we can be gathered and we can be a fellowshipping church body as we were before. Now, I'm going to outline a few of these adjustments here, and we're also going to be mailing and emailing these out to our church congregation that we have contact information for in our database. And so if you didn't receive a letter from us a couple months ago when we started our at-home worship, then that probably means that we don't have your correct mailing address or your correct email. So please, contact one of the church leaders and let us know your correct information so we can get this information to you in your hands. But going on out, here are the adjustments. The first one is that we're going to have what's called hybrid worship. We're going to have both in-person gathering worship, but we're also going to continue to have our services streamed online. We're still going to have at-home worship. For those of you who are not able to come for any reason you're not able to make it here to this building, we want to still make it so you can be a part of this church body. Our service time will still be at 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings, and our live stream will still be the same place as it's been over the past several weeks for our at-home worship. It's going to still be at smithfieldchristian.online.church. And every week there'll be a link on our church website, like it's always been on the homepage of our church website, and there'll also be a link on our church Facebook page so that you can go there and easily click on that and get engaged with what's going on for the service that morning. Now, these services, they'll be shortened. They'll be family services, so they'll be around 45 minutes long. And again, they'll be a family service, so we won't be offering things like kids' classes or a nursery. It will continue to provide prepackaged communion, which will be available at every seat. When you come in, your communion cup and your bread will already be there at your seat. And for those of you who will be worshiping from home, you'll still be able to pick up communion supplies on Fridays and also Sunday mornings before the service. Our seating is going to be kind of arranged in groups of 5, and we ask that families sit together, but we also ask that individuals, that you leave 2 to 3 chairs in between you and other people. Face coverings are going to be required for everyone over the age of 10, except for those who are leading from the stage and while they're on the stage, and also for those who physically or medically can't wear masks. We're going to ask everyone else, though, to wear a mask, and we'll have masks available for you if you don't have one to bring on your own. The building is going to remain closed until 10:50 every Sunday morning, and we're going to ask that you only use the main front entrance when you come in. Bathrooms are going to be available for anyone who needs them. And for the time being, though, there won't be any Sunday school, and we won't be using bulletins, and we won't be offering coffee or the water cooler. But feel free to bring your own coffee or your own water or your own snacks for the kids, or even for me. I mean, I wouldn't mind a snack here and there. Friends, I know that in many ways this can be frustrating to have to come back and worship with these kinds of rules, these kinds of standards, but please understand that this is for everyone's safety so that we can do our best to display the love of Christ to our church family and to our community. And we want to do our best to come back and to be a gathered body, not a body that's distant and separated. We want to be together, and sometimes we have to make adaptations, make exceptions, and do things a little bit differently, and we want to be okay with that so that we can be back together. If you have any questions about these policies, please feel free to reach out to the leadership. And most of all, please continue to pray for us. Pray for the leaders here at Smithfield Christian Church. Pray for our community and for our country and for our world. Pray that we would have wisdom moving forward to know how to navigate through this time, how to best minister to our church family here, but also how to continue to love and to show generous love to our community around us. Man, this is just one step along the way, and God is in control, as even we studied earlier in our message time, that God ultimately is the one in control. He's not surprised by any of this, and we're going to trust in Him to bring us through and help us to still keep on being His people who honor God, make disciples, and love generously.